Story 1. My efforts have been repeatedly thwarted, and I would have been a benevolent and just ruler with a velvet glove over my iron fist. Oh well. Story 2. I need to build up startup funds. Wealthy individuals often say, with only $100,000, I created a multi-billion-dollar business that took over the world. I started from nothing. Well, first I am going to need that $100,000. Story 3. I do not want, nor have I ever wanted, to rule the world with an iron fist. My dream is to become a freelance adult film star. Story 4. I do not have the finances. You cannot rule the world if you cannot afford your own evil lair, let alone an army of brainwashed cyborgs to do your every bidding. Story 5. They said I was most likely to blow up the world in middle school. I haven't gotten the bomb working yet. Story 6. The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Try being operative. It's a process. Story 7. I find more joy in being a minor annoyance or an inconvenience than being an authoritarian person. There is no joy in being an unpleasant person if you know the other person will not fight back. Truth is the spice of life, and I prefer a well-seasoned dish. Story 8. I do not come from generational wealth, so I have been too busy trying to survive the entire time. Do not get me wrong. I would still like to rule the world, implement a lot more cleaner, renewable energy practices, and promote more mass transit and alternative methods of transportation. I believe in a nationally guaranteed minimum salary and social programs similar to those in Norway, as well as socialized healthcare. Additionally, I would advocate for much less concrete and asphalt to be used. However, these ideas seem taboo in this country. Story 9. I am from an Asian family, and the job of ruling the world with an iron fist is already being managed by my elder sister. I think I will leave the headaches to her and be one of the advisors in the background for Her Majesty. Story 10. My nemesis has not yet forcefully amputated my arm or even my hand, so there is no need to replace it with an iron one. It has really set my plans back. Story 11. Power corrupts. There is no way I can lead without hurting many people like all leaders. Unless you can give me an exception. Story 12. Still waiting for the revolution to happen so I can infiltrate the party by getting hired in a seemingly insignificant secretary position that will make me too powerful and influential to get rid of later on. Story 13. I have no plans to rule the world with an iron fist, but I do want to try and unite it. However, I am not old enough yet to run for president in my country. Story 14. I'm 22 to 23 years old, and I have lessons to study for at the university. Also, I'm not an unkind person who does not care for the people around me. Story 15. I enjoy sleeping in. Can you imagine having your phone go off every time the people revolt? Or some upstart chosen by fate wants to save the land? I get grouchy when I do not get a full 8 hours, and that will not be interrupted by a coup. Story 16. No one listens to me because the three great delusions, money, religion, and government, have made them afraid of actual freedom. Story 17. I'm still waiting for the apocalypse to happen so I can be declared God Emperor by my fellow survivors. I have explained my plans to my family repeatedly. Oddly, they have stopped inviting me over for dinner. Story 18. It is too much trouble trying to control other people. It is like herding cats and far too noisy. I gave up ruling the world in favor of becoming a medieval hermit in a tower with a library of 10,000 books. Story 19. My innate empathy for other humans prevents me from stepping on other people to get ahead. It is both a gift and a curse. Story 20. Mrs. keeps giving me things to do. Apparently, washing dishes is more important than total world domination. Who am I to argue with her? Story 21. It would really need me to put the whole world into shape. It's like your little brother emptied all the Legos on the floor and you have to clean it up. No one wants to do that, you know. Story 22. I work on wind turbines and I really enjoy the work. Taking over the world seems like a lot more unenjoyable work. I will just do what I enjoy and keep being relaxed. Story 23. It turns out that it requires money, some form of superpower, or a large group of people either compelled or eager to do what you tell them. I am poor, not especially popular, and it turns out that exposure to toxic waste is literally just fatal. Story 24. I was told it was wrong that I should not do that. I am under the impression that it is frowned upon. I was very grateful that I was told these things. Otherwise, mistakes might have been made. Story 25. Oh, that sounds like so much effort. I can only just be willing to do my regular job, and that does not involve being in charge of anyone. Story 26. I wasn't born into a life of wealth and privilege, and those who were stacked the deck against anyone outside of their small group to prevent others from gaining power at their expense. Additionally, I am fundamentally lazy. Story 27. I keep getting arrested, and now January 6th messed everything up for me. Lazy copycats. Story 28. There is already someone ruling my country with an iron fist. He lost 4 years ago and caused the biggest riot my country has seen since the 1992 Los Angeles riot. And now that individual is back in office even though he is a 34-count convicted felon. Story 29. Why not rule from the darkness? Besides, I have my Reddit threads to watch. I have no time for sitting on a gold throne, getting my soul corrupted by chaos. Story 30. My back hurts. I'm very tired. I have a 2-year-old, and my wife doesn't enjoy looking after him. So I have to work to pay for him to go to daycare while she looks for a job all day. That is why I can't do anything I want. Story 31. Crippling social anxiety. I need to be around a responsible, trusted adult like my mother in public or I lock up in panic. I am a 36-year-old man. Story 32. I need to be told exactly what to do, or I will get irritable, mean, cry, and tell everyone to do whatever they want in that order. Story 33. Intellectual curiosity, empathy, and an understanding that there are complex issues requiring complex solutions. Most importantly, knowing that I do not have all the answers. Story 34. Did not have the opportunity. Trust me, I would really love to rule it not just with an iron fist but with a titanium one. Story 35. I just don't have the stomach for conquest anymore. Subjugation is so time-consuming, and don't even get me started on having to sleep with one eye open now that my heirs are of combat age. That is exhausting. Story 36. If you have cats, you do not even rule your own home with an iron fist. But they are so very cute it is worth it. Story 37. If I have to be awake for it, I am not doing anything. I would rather sleep through an entire century. Thank you. Story 38. Once we hit traffic law, it becomes clear I am unhinged, but not in a fun way or an easy-to-profit-from way. Story 39. I have a really sleepy cat lying on my legs. I haven't even gotten out of bed yet because he is so sleepy. My wife has breakfast and coffee she picked up, but I cannot enjoy it until this cat moves on. Story 40. The depresso suppresso is holding me back. Otherwise, the world would be fixed to perfection under my rule. Story 41. Seems stressful. All the negativity that you generate just from existing and other people not being satisfied with life is not worth it. I would rather just wish for misery to those who think they could possibly do the job because they are misguided individuals. Story 42. I wasn't born into an incredibly wealthy family or a family that was already deeply rooted in politics. Story 43. I have morals and do not want others to suffer. It seems like you have to be a terrible person to be in charge of things. Story 44. I haven't found the spaceship yet that allows me to create hundreds of millions of clone soldiers that have my sense of justice and morality. Story 45. If I were president for a day, it would be the worst day of my life. I do not need and cannot take on that responsibility, television pressure, and the knowledge that even one misstep could ruin the world. So why would I want to do that for my entire life while purposefully committing atrocities to maintain my iron rule? Story 46. I am plagued by numerous health conditions that severely limit what I can do. I always say that if I did not have the health problems that I have, I would literally be unstoppable. My health has always been poor, even from when I was a child, and it keeps getting worse. I have learned to deal with a lot of pain, but I still have limits. Story 47. Time travelers caused wrecks on important days, making me late. They returned as teachers who seemed out to get me when I was a kid. They interfered in elections to prevent me from succeeding. Every time I tried to get ahead, a time traveler showed up to set me back. This could actually be an interesting short story. The world's unluckiest man is only that way because, in the proper timeline, he was known as Super Hitler. Time travelers went back to when he was a boy to kill him, but they couldn't kill an innocent child. Instead, they proceeded to make him fail at everything by using time travel to make him seem unlucky. As he got older, they didn't kill him because he still hadn't become the Super Hitler he was in the other timeline. So, the time travelers just kept interfering with him to make sure that remained the case. Originally, he was valedictorian and completed high school in only 3 years. Now, he managed to fail every even-numbered grade because those teachers were time travelers ensuring he failed. This meant his little sister graduated high school before he even made it to high school. The time travelers only have one rule. If he applies to art school, make sure he gets in, unlike that other time they got involved. Story 48. Seems exhausting. Plus, I have enough people wishing for my death already. I will leave the world to be handled in the shadows by those who already do. Story 49. My wrists are weary from carrying my relatives through a horrible time in history. My fist doesn't rise anymore since my muscles are weak. Story 50. I don't have a time machine. I can't blow up the iceberg. Therefore, I have nothing to start my business with. Story 51. I am trying. I am telling people exactly what I think of them and what I want them to do, but they keep reading between the lines or taking me as a joke. There is nothing between the lines. Darn it. Story 52. I am trying to gain power, but I keep rushing and losing control before I achieve it. This sets me back because no one listens to someone who is unstable without power. Story 53. Oh, and this is playing out just how I planned. Soon, the people will look to me to save them, and I will say no. Story 54. Luck and fate are key to everything. If you do not have that on your side somewhere, somehow you are not going to get far. At least some successful people admit the truth of this. Story 55. My excuse is that ruling the world with an iron fist sounds exhausting, and I would rather focus on helping people, learning, and enjoying life. Plus, world domination is overrated. Cooperation and kindness are way more powerful. Story 56. But I had to get a prescription first, and then it's the kids' swimming lesson. I would really like to finish the book I'm reading right now, so. Story 57. The world is damaging itself so much that I am going to get exposed if I rule it and actually make it a better place. Story 58. I do, but nobody is really happy. I tried to relax things, but it went poorly. Now I don't know thoughts? It seems to be getting worse. Story 59. There is a worldwide shortage of steel for which to make my iron fist. I keep calling my suppliers, but they all tell me it is on backlog. But one day soon. Story 60. Why rule with an iron fist when I can just manipulate all of Earth's population into thinking their nation's leaders aren't puppets that submit to my will? Story 61. I have begun my ascent to power, starting by calling Adolf Muskler a misguided individual and the former president a foolish person. As soon as I have had my cup of tea and biscuit, I will start stage 2 of my plan. Story 62. Homework, exams, friends, and people. I won't have the last two if I were ruling the world with an iron fist. I wouldn't be seen how I am seen. Rather, I would be viewed as a tyrant by them. So that's why. Story 63. I have been quite busy designing a new type of time, 10 seconds in a minute, 10 minutes in an hour, and 431.92706 hours per day. Also, my hemorrhoids are bothering me. It is on my to-do list after repair shoe tree. Story 64. My demands just aren't serious enough. All I want is free Reese's in every grocery store. All varieties except the outrageous. Those are gross. I want all milk to be filtered through no less than 12 feet of marshmallow mateys. I just want people to be happy. Darn it. Story 65. I should have pulled myself up by my bootstraps and inherited millions from my dad. I could have had everything. Story 66. Never had the interest or the strength to use a fist made of iron. And can you imagine engaging in self-pleasure with that? Story 67. I blame my dad. If he were Philip, then I of course would be Alexander. My procrastination is not to blame at all, I promise. Story 68. My benevolent nature is one aspect of me, and I prefer brass knuckles hidden in something warm and fuzzy to an iron fist. The unpredictability is helpful to keep your enemies on their toes. Kidding, I think. Story 69. Too much trouble. Ruling the world would seriously cut into my me time and drastically reduce the number of books I can read. Besides, I have a hard limit on how many individuals I can know and endure, and ruling the world would greatly exceed that limit. So no. Story 70. I haven't finished half of the books I had to read last year yet. Take it easy, buddy. I will do that next week. Story 71. Because my fists are only flesh and bone, they are inadequate material if you want to rule the world. I just want to rule my world. Story 72. I don't want to rule the world. It sounds exhausting. In fact, I don't even want to run anything. I tried running a business once, and I was not good at it because I'm not a big enough jerk. I just want to live my life and not have to deal with other people. Running the world seems like I would have to deal with a lot of other people. Story 73. 1. I am too nice of a person. Many people in this world will not like how I rule. I prefer peace and quiet over drama. Story 74. My mom told me to aim high, so I am currently ruling the moon with an iron fist with glorious nails for your information. Story 75. I would wield the ring with the desire to do good, but through me it would wield a power too great and terrible to imagine. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.